Okay, so now that I've thinned this knife, I'm going to sharpen the actual cutting edge. And that's basically what's important about thinning before you sharpen the edge, or as you go, is that you can see from behind, the bevels come pretty steep to a point. And you want to keep it like that, because otherwise you get into a thicker material, the edge gets thick, and also if you can see, the actual cutting steel, here we go a bit, towards the edge is a bit shinier. That's the core steel, and you want to keep that exposed, especially with these laminated knives, because that's the sweet, sweet origami super in the center, and that's all the cutting power there is in behind there. So I'm going to start sharpening it at 1,000 grit, because this steel is pretty easy to sharpen, and it's already quite thin, so it won't take much effort. But if it's dull, if it's a thick knife, whatnot, start at 220 grit, 400 grit, whatever it takes if you have the stones. Now, the main purpose of this exercise is actually to call what we call raising a burr. And that's basically when you grind an edge on this side, the opposite side will have like a little ridge of steel that pops up. And that tells you that you've ground the edge completely on the one side. Then you can go to the other and grind the other side for the edge. So how do you find the angle? Well, you have your fingers on the knife on the stone. Now, if you notice, I keep the knife that's the hand that's holding the knife, the handle, my index finger is on the spine, and that helps keep it steady when I move the knife back and forth. Because this will be the same motion that I use for thinning the knife, but now I'm sharpening the edge. Now you can say, what angle do you find, like for this and that? Well, basically the lower the angle, the sharper it will be, but it won't be as strong. And the higher the angle, the more you raise it up, the stronger the edge will be, but it won't be as sharp. Now this is a boning knife, so I figure, to me this feels right. Right here, it's Japanese steel, it can take a really good sharp edge, but I still want it to be tough enough to stand up to daily tasks. So, keep running back and forth, up and down. A few passes, stop and check. Is there a burr along here? Definitely towards the edge, or the tip, I should say. Now, towards the heel, still more work. So, focus in on that spot. I still want to keep it consistent. I want it all to blend together. So, up and down, the full length of the blade. Heel to tip. Tip to heel, too. It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel more comfortable with. But this is the basic principle behind it, is creating a burr. So once you've created the burr on the one side, you can also see too, if you have like a nice even line for your edge, it's nice and even and consistent. So now that I've raised the burr on one side, flip it on the other side. Same thing now this way, keep it perpendicular. Whereas this side I kept at 45-degree angle, the knife to the stone. So now I bring it up, find my angle, start grinding that edge. Now we're going to raise the burr on the other side of the knife. And that tells us we've created an edge on each side. Afterwards, you're just trying to get rid of the burr. Once you've established that edge, you just try to knock off the burr, because it's a weak piece of metal, and it's not very clean cutting. So if you can notice, this knife has a very flat edge profile, meaning there's not much curve, there's no belly towards the tip or anything like that. So it's pretty simple. You don't have to follow any curve or whatnot. Now in a future video I'll demonstrate that. But for all intents and purposes, this is the knife I have to sharpen. So this is the first knife I'll demonstrate with explanation on video. So dry the knife off. See if we raise the burr on this side. It's getting there. It's getting there. So we'll start again. Start from the tip. Now I could easily, use a 400 grit stone or, raise the burr quicker, but it's not very necessary. And at least this allows me to keep explaining the process. Keep on knocking, but you can't come in. Starting to feel that burr, especially up towards the tip. So I'll start at the tip again and work my way down. Feel for the burr. Step. Now, just a little bit more towards this part of the heel. Concentrate on that spot. Just keep blending it in. Yeah, just there, right here. Just a bit more. Then I'll go on the other side. And we'll flip back and forth a bit, basically to remove that burr. Okay. So back to the other side, lift it up to the angle. And now I'm not trying to grind that edge so much, so just go light, nice and light, even and consistent, up and down, back and forth a bit. Clean up that edge. Now after going into it a bit, this is what we call edge leading strokes, because I'm grinding into the edge. Now I'll start doing stropping motions, which are edge trailing. And you just trail the knife back and forth, flip it over, so you can start to feel that edge getting smoother. Now, basically, when you raise the burr, that's what's making you establish the sharpness. After you raise the burr, you remove it, and then we're going to move to a finer stone to refine it. Before that, it's always good to check, have we established sharpness? Best way? Well, there's a lot of ways, but an easy way is paper test. We always have a lot of junk mail kicking in our apartment building, so it's a good way to use it up. piece of paper. I should be able to push cut right through. Clean, no problem, no effort. All the way from heel to tip, tip to heel, however you want to look at it. And if you slice your cue, feel if there's any little bump or anything like that, any dull spot. So that's what gives the paper cast a good determination of, do you have a sharp? It's sharp. Oh yeah. But like I said, we just ground the edge. It's important to keep your stones flat. So this is a bit of flattening. I have a diamond plate, and I have to round it over. Like I said, these stones, they wear out so slow, but keep them on a flat on a full-time basis. Just do a little bit at a time, and it's not a lot of work in the end. Plus, it's just demonstrates at the same time. So that's 1,000 grit. For carbon steels, the great thing is